This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so I have repeated this couple of times before, but the purpose of this chanting is, number one is my own practice. Number two is, why this practice? Because when you chant the sutras, you try to memorize them and also try to know the interaction between different sutras. So sutras contain too much knowledge in short space. So unless you know all the sutras at one shot, you cannot know the sutras at all. So it is totally wrong to study 4 sutras, 5 sutras for teacher certification. That is not how you should study the sutras. Sutras should be studied all at one time. Anyway, there is a separate course on Yoga Sutras, its meaning and explanation, which is currently going on Tuesday and Thursday, Indian time 6 a.m. But that course will finish soon and a new course will start. However, the, the chanting provides a means to comprehend the entire knowledge in one place. So for that, one should practice chanting regularly of any complex text like Bhagavad Gita or basically in the Indian philosophical world, you're supposed to memorize everything, including Upanishad, you should memorize. So anyway, I sang first and second chapter recently. Third chapter is the biggest one, so I will try that. And the fourth chapter is the smallest one. So I'm now going to try the third chapter and then fourth. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Patanjalaye Namaha. अथ श्री पातञ्जलयोग दर्शनम् विभूतिपादः देशबन्धश्चित्तस्य धारणा तत्र प्रत्ययैकतानताध्यानम् तदेवार्थमात्रनिर्भासम् स्वरूपशून्यमिव समाधि त्रयमेकत्र संयमः तज्जयात् प्रज्ञालोकः तस्य भूमिषु विनियोगः त्रयमन्तरङ्गम् पूर्वेभ्यः तदपि बहिरङ्गम् निर्बीजस्य व्युत्थान निरोध संस्कारयोरभिभव प्रादुर्भावौ निरोध क्षणचित्तान्वयो निरोध परिणामः तस्य प्रशान्तवाहिता संस्कारात् सर्वार्थतैकाग्रतयोः क्षयोदयौ चित्तस्य समाधिपरिणामः शान्तोदितौ तुल्यप्रत्ययौ चित्तस्यैकाग्रता परिणामः एतेन भूतेन्द्रियेषु धर्मलक्षणावस्था परिणामा व्याख्याताः शान्तोदिता व्यपदेश्य धर्मानुपाती धर्मी क्रमान्यत्वं परिणामान्यत्वे हेतुः परिणामत्रयसंयमादतीतानागतज्ञानम् शब्दार्थप्रत्ययानामितरेतराध्यासात् संकरस्तत्प्रविभागसंयमात् सर्वभूतऋतज्ञानम् संस्कारसाक्षात्करणात् पूर्वजातिज्ञानम् प्रत्ययस्य परचित्तज्ञानम् न च तत्सालम्बनम् तस्याविषयीभूतत्वात् कायरूपसंयमात् तद्ग्राह्यशक्तिस्तम्भे चक्षुप्रकाशासंयोगेऽन्तर्धानम् सोपक्रमं निरुपक्रमं च कर्म तत्संयमादपरान्तज्ञानमरिष्टेभ्यो वा मैत्र्यादिषु बलानि बलेषु हस्तिबलादीनि प्रवृत्त्यालोकन्यासात् सूक्ष्मव्यवहित विप्रकृष्टज्ञानम् भुवनज्ञानम् सूर्ये संयमात् चन्द्रे ताराव्यूहज्ञानम् ध्रुवे तद्गतिज्ञानम् नाभिचक्रे कायव्यूहज्ञानम् कण्ठकूपे क्षुत्पिपासा निवृत्तिः कूर्मनाड्यां स्थैर्यम् मूर्धज्योतिषि सिद्धदर्शनम् प्रातिभाद्वा सर्वं हृदये चित्तसंविद सत्त्वपुरुषयोरत्यन्तासङ्कीर्णयोः प्रत्ययाविशेषो भोगः परार्थत्वात् स्वार्थसंयमात् पुरुषज्ञानम् ततः प्रातिभ श्रावण वेदना दर्शा स्वादवार्ता जायन्ते ते समाधा उपसर्गा उत्थाने सिद्धयः बन्धकारणशैथिल्यात् प्रचार संवेदनाच चित्तस्य परशरीरावेशः उदानजया जलपङ्ककण्टकादिश्वसङ्ग उत्क्रान्तिश्च समानजयाज्वलनम् श्रोत्राकाशयोः सम्बन्धसंयमात् दिव्यं श्रोत्रम् कायाकाशयोः सम्बन्धसंयमाल्लघुतूलसमापत्ते चाकाशगमनम् बहिरकल्पिता वृत्तिर्महाविदेहा ततः प्रकाशावरणक्षयः स्थूलस्वरूपसूक्ष्मान्वयार्थवत्त्वसंयमात् भूतजयः ततोऽणिमादिप्रादुर्भावः कायसम्पत् तद्धर्मानभिघातश्च रूपलावण्यबलवज्रसंहननत्वानि कायसम्पत् ग्रहणस्वरूपास्मितान्वयार्थवत्त्वसंयमात् इन्द्रियजयः ततो मनोजवित्वं विकरणभावः प्रधानजयश्च सत्त्वपुरुषान्यताख्यातिमात्रस्य सर्वभावाधिष्ठातृत्वं सर्वज्ञातृत्वं च तद्वैराग्यादपि दोषबीजक्षये कैवल्यम् स्थान्युपनिमन्त्रणे सङ्गस्मयाकरणम् पुनरनिष्टप्रसङ्गात् क्षणतत्क्रमयोः क्षणतत्क्रमयोः संयमात् विवेकजं ज्ञानम् जातिलक्षणदेशैरन्यतानवच्छेदात् तुल्ययोस्ततः प्रतिपत्तिः तारकं सर्वविषयं सर्वथा विषयमक्रमं चेति विवेकजं ज्ञानम् सत्वपुरुषयो शुद्धिसाम्ये कैवल्यम् इति श्रीपातञ्जले योगशास्त्रे विभूतिनिर्देशो नाम तृतीयः पादः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। Shanti. Okay, what I will do is I will try to explain you in a couple of minutes what this third chapter is trying to say. In the second chapter, he has explained the practice which will, in the second chapter, he has explained the practice which has controlled all the body organs, and a person has reached inside the mind. So all the external senses, the senses which give you a perception of the external world to the mind, all those senses are controlled, and those senses are turned inward. That is called pratyahar. That is the fifth practice. Now in the third chapter, he explains the remaining three practices to make it total 8 practices called Ashtanga Yoga. So in this, he is explaining the practice which is inside the mind. So you have to understand that the third chapter is explaining the practice which is inside the mind, and there is nothing outside the mind you have to consider. That means once you come to the third chapter, you have to forget the outside totally. That means there is no society, nothing, zero. You are totally inside your mind, and once you are inside the mind, what he is telling is, first you have to focus your mind on one point inside the mind, not outside the mind. Then you have to make that focus continuous. That is called meditation. So in Patanjali, meditation means focusing inside the mind and continuing that focus. And what he is saying is that practice should be continued until your focus becomes totally one pointed and you forget yourself. So when you forget yourself, that is the first level samadhi state. So now he is explaining that once you get to one pointedness totally and you forget yourself, that practice, it is not a state, it's a practice. It's called as samadhi practice. So that is why the samadhi is the 8th limb of the practice. So you have to understand the samadhi is a practice in Patanjali, not the state. Now once you get that first level samadhi, you go through more and more levels of samadhi. Those more levels of samadhi are given in first chapter, which is a mistake by Patanjali. Those should be given in the third chapter. That is why in my book that is rearranged. Anyway, after you go through those 4 levels or 5 levels or 6 levels, whatever you consider, of samadhi, that means you are inside the mind and your practice is continued inside the mind. And that is where you have to do the chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta vritti nirodha is not to be done outside. It has nothing to do with outside and you are getting attracted to girls or you are getting attracted to ice cream, etc. Those are not chitta vrittis. Those are called as sensual attractions. Those are removed in the first 5 limbs already. Once you are inside the mind, there will be some vrittis. Those are called chitta vrittis, and those are the ones you have to remove. And that practice is very hard because first you have to get inside the mind and then you will come to know what all mess up you have done. For example, you have done some murder in the last life, or you cheated your wife in the last 2-3 lives before, something like that. So all the chitta vrittis you have to completely resolve after reaching the samadhi state, not before reaching samadhi state. Anyway, once you do the chitta vritti nirodha, which is given in the first chapter, you come to the third chapter again. In the third chapter, he says that once you get the samadhi state and you master it, that is called Sanyam. So once you master the Sanyam, now you can use that Sanyam. It is like once you master how to make bread, you can make whole wheat bread, or you can make a cornmeal bread, etc. So once you master that samadhi, you can use that samadhi state on different objects according to your liking or need, and then you will get different siddhis, like you will be able to fly in the air, or I think Livia will like that because she likes to go on the rope. So she will like the rope siddhi. She is coming to India, so I'll bring her to you. So we will try to give her the rope siddhi. So now, once you get all the siddhis, what he is saying is that those siddhis will tell you that you have reached that samadhi state. So the only purpose of getting those siddhis is to know that you reach the samadhi state. And he says that you should not use those siddhis. If you use those siddhis, then you will be attracted by ice cream and never come out. So there are two siddhis which he wants you to get. All the other siddhis, like making money, etc., and management, etc., those are not required. Only two siddhis which are very important. The first siddhi is called Bhuta Jaya. Bhuta Jaya means you will get mastery over the 5 elements, which are the Pancha Mahabhutas, and you will get mastery over them, and you can create any object, etc., or you can fly and all that. You can use the air, you can become lighter than the air and go to Himalayas quickly to meet some teacher there, etc. So these siddhis are very important because you can use them to go to your next level of progress in the yoga. Then the second siddhi is called Indriya Jaya. So Indriya Jaya, where you will completely master your organs, sense organs. That means you will never be attracted by those organs again. So you will see that some yoga people, when they start the practice, for example, to give you an example, some of them will get attracted by money or sex or reputation or like that, because they are attracted by senses, because sex means sense, definitely. Money also is sense only, because once you get money, you can use that money to get power or something like that. So the Indriya Jaya will give you a power over the mind. Tato manojavitvam vikarana bhava pradhana jayascha. Pradhana jaya means you will get total mastery over the Prakriti. That is, Prakriti is made up of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So you will get total mastery over Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Once you get the total mastery over Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, then there is nothing left, because after the Prakriti, the only thing which is more important is Purush. So at the end, he says, Sattva Purushoyo Shuddhi Samya Kaivalyam. That means Purusha Jnanam and then Kaivalyam. So you will get the Purusha Jnan. As soon as you get the Purusha Jnan completely, you will get liberation. So that is what the third chapter is. Now, what happens is that there is a fourth chapter, which is a small chapter, which is half size of other chapters, and it is called Kaivalya Path. So in that, what he is describing is, once you get the Samadhi state and you get Bhuta Jaya and Indriya Jaya, you are not completely relieved from the problem. The problem is still there, because your past life, some karmas are left. So those karmas need to be resolved. So that person who has got Bhuta Jaya and Indriya Jaya, what he does is, he uses his siddhis to create more bodies. Once he creates more bodies, for example, suppose I had a wish to have 1,000 children. So 1,000 children I cannot have in the human body. So to have 1,000 children, I have to have bacterial body. So I will create, suppose I get Indriya Jaya and Mano Jaya, then I will create the bacterial body and have 1,000 children. And then people will enjoy the COVID and vaccination. So like this, he will be able to resolve all his karmas by having different bodies. So those all bodies are dummies. The only body which is correct is the one who was meditating in the first. So that's why he says, Tatra Dhyanajam Anashayam. That means the one which was meditating. That is the body which doesn't create karma. All the others are dummies. Anyway, Once all the karma is resolved, then the person gets the Kaivalya state. So even after getting Samadhi state, the person is not liberated. To liberate, the person has to remove all the karma. Now, what he describes in the 4th chapter is what happens in the life of a person who has reached that level. That means, what is the kind of a life that person is leading after he has gone to that level. So it is a very complex chapter, and I like that chapter most, and it is a small chapter, so I will finish it probably in 5 minutes. So let me try that. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Patanjalaye Namaha. अथ श्री पातञ्जलयोग दर्शनम् कैवल्यपादः जन्मौषधि मंत्र तपस्समाधिजाः सिद्धयः जात्यंतर परिणाम प्रकृत्या पूरात् निमित्तमप्रयोजकम् प्रकृतीनां वर्णभेदस्तु ततक्षेत्रिकवत् निर्माणचित्तान्यस्मिता मात्रात् प्रवृत्तिभेदे प्रयोजकं चित्तमेकमनेकेषाम् तत्र ध्यानजमनाशयम् कर्मा शुक्ला कृष्णं योगिनस्त्रिविधमितरेषाम् ततस्तद्विपाकानुगुणानामेवाभिव्यक्तिर्वासनानाम् जातिदेशकालव्यवहितानामप्यानन्तर्यम् स्मृतिसंस्कारयो रेकरूपत्वात् तासामनादित्वं चाशिषो नित्यत्वात् हेतुफलाश्रयालम्बनैः संगृहीतत्वादेशामभावे तदभावः अतीतानागतं स्वरूपतो स्त्यध्वभेदात् धर्माणाम् ते व्यक्तसूक्ष्मा गुणात्मानः परिणामैकत्वात् वस्तुतत्वम् वस्तुसाम्ये चित्तभेदात् तयोर्विभक्ताः पन्थाः न चैकचित्ततन्त्रं वस्तु तदप्रमाणकं तदा किं स्यात् तदुपरागापेक्षित्वा चित्तस्य वस्तु ज्ञातम् सदा ज्ञाताश्चित्तवृत्तयस्तत्प्रभो पुरुषस्यापरिणामित्वात् न तत्स्वाभासं दृश्यत्वात् एकसमये चोभयानवधारणम् चित्तान्तरदृश्ये बुद्धिबुद्धेरतिप्रसङ्गः स्मृतिसङ्करश्च चितेरप्रतिसङ्क्रमायास्तदाकारापत्तौ स्वबुद्धिसंवेदनम् द्रष्टुदृश्योपरक्तं चित्तं सर्वार्थम् तदसङ्ख्येयवासनाभिश्चित्रमपि परार्थं संहत्यकारित्वात् विशेषदर्शिन आत्मभावभावना विनिवृत्तिः तदा विवेकनिम्नं कैवल्यप्राग्भारं चित्तम् तच्छिद्रेषु प्रत्ययान्तराणि संस्कारेभ्यः हानमेषां क्लेशवदुक्तम् प्रसङ्ख्यानेऽप्यकुसीदस्य सर्वथा विवेकख्यातेर्धर्ममेघः समाधिः ततः क्लेशकर्मनिवृत्तिः तदा सर्वावरणमलापेतस्य ज्ञानस्यानन्त्याज्ञेयमल्पम् ततः कृतार्थानां परिणामक्रमसमाप्तिर्गुणानां क्षणप्रतियोगी परिणामापरान्त निर्ग्राह्यः क्रमः पुरुषार्थशून्यानां गुणानां प्रतिप्रसवः कैवल्यं स्वरूपप्रतिष्ठा वा चितिशक्तिरिति इति श्रीपातञ्जले योगशास्त्रे कैवल्यनिरूपणं नाम चतुर्थः पादः समाप्तम् योगदर्शनम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Okay, very good.